Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel. This is my review of The Northman. So just let you know, going ahead, this is non-spoilers, so if you haven't seen the movie, don't worry. I'm not going to spoil anything, but if you haven't seen the trailers, then maybe think twice about watching this, because I am going to talk about things that happen in the trailer. It's not a spoiler, but if you haven't seen the trailers, they're going to be spoilers, so you've been warned. So The Northman, wow. Oh my god, what a movie. What an absolute movie. This was an incredible experience. I really did enjoy this. I absolutely loved it. It was a very special film to me. It just was so unique. It's so different. It's so raw. It's done, everything's just done so well. You can tell that the craftsmanship of this film is just done by a team of very talented people. And of course, mainly Robert Eggers, the director. What an amazing film. Like, the whole thing was just an experience right from the beginning to the end. It felt like a ride. I felt like I was fully immersed in this world. They succeeded so well to capture the crazy, atmospheric Viking tone of this. It was just so raw and violent and very violent, very brutal. Just amazing experience right from the beginning to the end. Robert Eggers, who directed this, is just by far one of my most favorite and exciting directors at the moment. He's just so good. He's so unique. If you haven't seen his previous films, he made two amazing films called The Witch, which is a really sick horror film, and The Lighthouse, which was a black and white, crazy, sort of twisted. It's not really a horror. It's just kind of like a weird psychological thriller type of movie that came out a couple of years ago. Both of them I absolutely loved. Very unique, very different. You can tell that Robert Eggers has a rich knowledge of history. The writing and the dialogue is very unique. How in his previous movies, especially, how they speak. You know, it's in like old tongue, how they would speak like years and years ago, back in the day. Back in the day. And yeah, you can really tell he's got a rich knowledge of history, and that really shows through his movies. And again, it does here in The Northman. The Northman really feels like, it feels the closest thing to Vikings that I've seen. Obviously, the Viking series is a phenomenal series. I absolutely love it. And that really felt like proper Viking stuff. But this feels, for me, more raw and more like this is what Vikings are like. This is what it would have been like back then with amongst Vikings. It's really brutal. It is so brutal. This film is just, I can't believe this film is rated a 15 in the UK. Like, it is so dark, so brutal, so violent. You see so much blood, so much violence. You see a lot of dismembered bodies, guts. There's so many things. People's noses getting chopped off. It's like really violent and very graphic, and you see pretty much most of the stuff happen, like, straight up. There's a scene that I'm not going to spoil, but when you watch it, you'll know exactly what I'm on about. There's a scene with a huge sword and someone's face and nose. That's all I'm going to say. But when you watch that, you're like, oh my god, what the fuck? That's mental. Like, it was so good to see it, but it was like, you're on your edge of your seat going like, oh, no way. And yeah, I just couldn't believe that this was a 15. I definitely would expect this to be at least an 18 or R-rated. The cast in this is just incredible. They've got such an amazing cast. Alexander Skarsgard, who plays the main character Amleth. Nicole Kidman, who plays Amleth's mother. Ethan Hawke, who plays the king, Amleth's father. I was going to say Ewan McGregor then. He's not in it at all. William Dafoe is in this. He's got a really weird part. William Dafoe plays his part amazingly well. It feels like, I actually think this role was written for him. I think I watched an interview with William Dafoe saying this role was pretty much written for him. You can kind of tell, very weird, but very good. I really love William Dafoe. Anya Taylor-Joy is in this. She's incredible, as always. I love watching her. She's got a really big role in this, and her performance is just great. I really liked watching her in this. Also, Bjork's in this. Bjork is in this, which was so random, but really cool. She's got a really cool part. I mean, it's short. It's more of a cameo sort of thing, but it's really cool. I'm glad to see her in there. There's loads more people. The guy, I don't know his actor, I don't know his real name, but the guy who plays the king, Ethan Hawke's character, the king's brother, he has a huge role in this, and he's really good. Everybody, the whole cast was amazing. Everybody's performances were just so raw and just They just did such an amazing job. I just really enjoyed watching everybody in this. The story of the Northman is very straightforward. It's just a revenge story of the young boy, Amleth, who's a prince. He witnesses his father, Ethan Hawke, the king, gets murdered at the very beginning of this movie. And the boy grows up, Amleth grows up. And when he's older, his whole life, his whole destiny is to just go back and just take revenge on everybody and the person that murdered his father. And that's basically the story. It's just a very simple revenge tale, but within that story, stuff happens. A lot of stuff happens. A lot of things come into the story that you would not expect. A lot of hurdles, a lot of obstacles that Amleth has to get through to be able to fulfill his destiny. There's a lot of twists in this movie, a lot of twists. Even though you think it's going to be a predictable story, it's not. Obviously, you kind of know what the story's how it's going to play out because you know it's a revenge tale. You know really where it's heading to. But a lot of things happen that you don't expect, and it really throws a spanner in the works sometimes. And you're like, whoa, shit, so there's a crazy scene that happens with Nicole Kidman. I'm not going to speak about it anymore, but there's a scene with Nicole Kidman where you're like, whoa, what is going on? What is going on here? This is sick. This is so weird, but this is sick. The atmosphere in this film is just top notch. Like how they have made the atmosphere and the whole world feel. Like I genuinely felt like I was there. It felt like a real place. It felt like a real time. It felt like I was watching history unfold, like something really happened in this time that you're watching because it's done so well. It really puts you in this world. I really felt like I was there. The environments, the sets, just the design of every shot. The cinematography is incredible. It's so good. It's just like for me, this was like an art house movie that just got given a huge budget. It was very artistic. It felt like a real piece of art, like a real violent, bloody, disturbing piece of art, and I loved it. The music in this is, honest to God, unbelievable. Right from the beginning, it constantly has this tone going through it, this heartbeat, this rhythm that's constantly going through it, and it just doesn't give up. The music's pretty much there all the way through it. Of course, there's times without it, but it felt like it was the heartbeat of the film. There was some amazing scores in this. I don't know what type of music you call it. It's like Celtic Viking flutes. I don't know what you meant to call that type of music, but it's just so good. It's ethereal. It has like this mystic vibe around it. It's just so good. There's even a moment where there's a horse running, and the horse is running and it's galloping really slowly, but the music and the rhythm is sort of based around the horse's feet. It's exactly in time with how the feet are galloping, hooves are galloping, whatever. And yeah, it's so good. It just felt like it was so well designed, the music, especially in that moment, but it was like that all the way through the film. And for me, I was sat in my seat just with a smile on my face because I was getting so fulfilled by every element of this movie. It was, honest to God, it was such an amazing experience. There's some really crazy stuff that happens in this film, really crazy stuff. There was one scene, which I'm not going to spoil, but there was a scene right at the beginning with Ethan Hawke, the boy who plays Amleth when he's younger, when he's a young prince, and William Dafoe, and they're in a cave, and they're doing some mental shit, and the music's going crazy, the atmosphere is it's just nuts. The whole scene was crazy. I was like, what is going on here? This is so good. But you could tell that you was like, this film was going to be mental. This was like the beginning of the film. You're like, this is going to be mental. Like, there's so many crazy scenes, and it's just done so well. It's so different. Alexander Skarsgard, who plays Amleth, the main character in this movie, is absolutely brilliant. Like, he was incredible in this movie. Some of the things that he does, the way that he acts, like, he doesn't have that much dialogue. I mean, he speaks often, like, you know, he has dialogue, but a lot of it's a lot of the things that he does is through expression and emotion, and the way he does it, he really is like a beast in this. He is massive. There's a scene in this movie which is in the trailers, so it isn't spoiling anything, but there's a scene in this film where Alexander Skarsgård is going through this village and he's just taking out everybody. He's got like a blade and an axe. And he's walking about with the biggest traps you've ever seen. He's just like, whoa, whoa. Well, he's actually, no joke though, he's genuinely like that all the way through the movie. He's a proper proper beast. Like, well done, Alexander Skarsgard, for this role, because this set him on the map for me. I've seen him in many other things before, but nothing really stands out. This is like, okay, this guy is sick. Get him in more stuff. He is so good. Perfect casting choice. I loved watching him, and I just think he does an incredible performance. Man, there's just so much I could say about this film. Like, this film for me was just a masterpiece. It was an actual masterpiece. Right from the beginning to the very end, I was completely in awe by it. I loved every second. I was on the edge of my seat. I was just blown away by what I was seeing. Just the shots, just the atmosphere, the acting, all the performances, the music. The music was one of the main things that really got me in there. I was like, oh God, this is just so good. Like, I'm loving all of it. Just the whole world building, the set pieces, the environments, the tone, the darkness, the brutality, the violence. Like, just everything you see in this movie is just done so well. Everybody obviously is clearly so talented behind this film, and Robert Eggers once again is absolutely smashed it. This film for me is up there with one of the best films I've seen in a very long time, and if not, this is again a big thing to say, but I feel like, I mean, I am still on the massive hype train from it, but I feel like this is one of the best films I've ever seen. Ever. And I know that is a big thing to say. I'd have to sit down and really think about everything, all the other films. But this right now, for me, feels like one of the best films I've ever seen. It's so different. It's so unique. We do not get films like this anymore. You just don't get this type of film. I'm so happy it got made. I'm so happy and grateful for someone like Robert Eggers to be making movies like this. He's a young guy. He's clearly sick as fuck. Go and watch interviews with him. He's a cool dude. He knows what he's doing. He never even went to film school. He's just really, really cool guy, and he's managed to get into the film industry. He's making movies like this. It's inspiring, and I absolutely love it. I'm here for it. I want to see more of it, and I just really, really hope that this film does well. Everybody go to the cinema and buy a ticket and watch this movie in the cinema, because this movie really needs everybody to support it. It needs to do well. It needs to get the money that it should deserve. It really needs to do well so these types of films can be made more. I feel like the studio obviously must have took a big risk. I think it was 90 million to make this movie, and it was a crazy film. Like, not everybody's gonna probably go and watch this movie. It's like an art house, big budget, violent, gory Viking revenge movie. It's not for everyone. And I just hope that loads of people do go to see it, because I just want this to do well. It deserves to do well. It's an incredible film. I'm so happy for every single thing that's happening in this film and for this film to be made. And for me, this is a total masterpiece. So for me, if I was to give this a rating, I would have to give it a 10 out of 10. So that's it, guys. That's my review. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please hit the like button. That'd be amazing for me. And let me know down below in the comments, have you seen this yet? What did you think? I'd love to know all your thoughts and comments down below. Also, if you are new here and you haven't already, please hit the subscribe button. And once again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time on wAFFwORLD.